Today in the crypto space, we see a bit of a dip throughout the market. Bitcoin coming down approximately 4% and Ethereum coming down approximately 4.5%. Still at very good levels. 70,000 for Bitcoin, 3,900 for Ethereum is not bad of a scenario. And the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, some red dips, Matic, OP, IMX, Tomcoin, Tau, HBAR, and many others. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that is still looking bullish despite this little dip, and that project is called RADIX. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click that bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. And better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord's where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin. We have a good scenario here for Bitcoin, Ethereum coming down. If you're looking for buying dips, it might not be a bad opportunity. However, guys, I don't think that we should get absolutely bearish here right now. In my opinion, obviously, not financial advice, guys, but if we start zooming out, number one. Number two, we have to understand that volatility to the downside does exist every so often. Structurally, we see that Bitcoin is still making higher highs and higher lows. In the short term, lower term time frames, yes, you do see a local bottom being broke, and even obviously on the Ethereum price as well. So it does look a bit bearish in the short term, but guys, we got to zoom out a little bit, right? We got to make sure that we have enough of an indication, enough confluence in the charts, in the overall sentiment of the market, in the fundamentals of what's happening here in the general landscape of our economy and economics, that we could come up with a bearish thesis. As of now, I'm not really feeling too bearish right now. Of course, I'm definitely coming up with a plan to get defensive on my gains. You know, a lot of us are in some real profits in the last little while, but remember, unless you take those profits off the table, you're not really realizing any of those profits. So it's important that you trail up a stop loss, guys, a triggered stop loss, a trailing stop loss, whatever you want to do. Just make sure that you have a safety net just in case Bitcoin does decide to come down for a bigger dump. However, guys, in the short term, this negativity could be just a short thing that ends up being bought up like it has done in the past, and then continuing to the upside. So really what we're going to do today is we're going to look at the overall market. We'll look at the top 100 here real quick, and we'll talk about Bitcoin. We'll look at the chart to see if we can use it as a leading indicator, and then we'll talk about RADIX. I think RADIX is in a bit of an opportunity right now. We caught the bottom absolutely perfect, you know, and obviously when you get those great entries, then you have some wiggle room to play for a continuation to the upside, and we'll take a look at that scenario. But really, I want to make sure that we are in the right stance right now. Are we bearish? Are we bullish? Are we getting defensive, or are we getting offensive? So let's continue here. Let's look at the top 100. Let's look at the overall sentiment of the market. Ethereum is definitely coming down. I see it actually looking a bit more bearish than Bitcoin for that matter. However, guys, big picture, Ethereum is a lot more bullish, right? Because Ethereum didn't even reach previous highs or even in price discovery. So there's a bit more room there. And we've been seeing Binance, BNB, and Sol do very well, you know, almost showing signs of distribution, capital distribution, people taking profits off of Bitcoin and Ethereum and pouring them into altcoins. So one of the things that I'm curious about is how is the Bitcoin dominance playing out? In the last little while, we saw BNB and Sol pretty much carry the altcoins, and we saw the Bitcoin dominance fall, right? And the Bitcoin dominance falls just means that Bitcoin against altcoins in general is not really playing out. It's not holding its strength. So I'm wondering how this looks. Is Bitcoin's dip bigger than the altcoin market in general? So let's take a look here. BNB is still looking okay here. You got to look at what's happening. Okay, yes, it's in a retracement, but maybe just a higher low. That's all it could be. Solana, the same thing. Let's get into consolidation at least. Let's get a bull flag in the short term, and then let's talk. Let's see if it's a continuation direction to the upside. If we keep on going down, you can see even Cardano, no big deal. It's still within structure, no lower lows really. It's still within a nice structural sideways type of pattern, get a nice bounce and continue to the upside. Doge, the same thing. AVAX, potentially, okay, it does look a bit bearish because of the double top, but it only looks more bearish because the way down is a lot bigger. Understand that AVAX has got a great amount of price action in the last little while, potentially leaving a little bit of a volume gap below, and that's why there's a bit of profit taking happening. So not bad. What if we get a bull flag where we are right now on AVAX and then continue to the upside? What I really do want to stress is that we need to zoom out a little bit on this market, because a short-term dip in one day is not a big deal. Altcoin is another one that could be retracing more than expected, but it ran up significantly more than expected. So this is the thing here, guys. Understand that volatility to the upside is usually matched up with volatility to the downside, and they're usually equally a balanced type of thing. Of course, retracements are usually lower, especially in a bull trend. Maybe we come down to the golden pocket 618, maybe we come down to the 886. At best case scenario, you can buy a big dip at those levels, but as of now, we are still making those higher highs and higher lows and still within structure. Now, there are a few that are oddballs, like Tron, not looking the greatest. Polygon Matic is still within structure on a nice dip, higher low as we speak. We're still doing okay. Uniswap, still kind of within structure. Yes, it does look like it did break below for a little bit of a liquidity hunt at the lower levels. Let's hope that it holds support here, but it's on the last line of potential support here for Uniswap. Not a good look, but of course, if Ethereum is not looking good, what do you expect the other altcoins within the same narrative going to look? They're going to look pretty bearish. So this is one thing we got to understand here, is that the market right now is painted with a little bit of a bearish red day, which is not a big deal when you're looking big picture. Near protocol still looking good, sideways planking with a lot of strength here. Once we see Bitcoin hit its bottom, let me scroll up here again, so let's see, we can keep this in mind. Bitcoin right now is trying to find a bottom. So what I'm really more interested in is not so much the short-term price action. What I'm more interested in to see is the reaction of the market, because the reaction of the market is going to give you a lot of information with regards to the sentiment of this market. If Bitcoin, when Bitcoin gets its bottom, and Ethereum and the rest of the altcoin market, particularly Binance and Solana, BNB and Solana, I'm going to keep an eye on those guys. If they get a stronger reaction to the upside in comparison to Bitcoin, guys, that's a sign of complete distribution potential altcoin season. Okay, because that means that it's likely that we see the altcoins outperform Bitcoin upon the bounce, which means that Bitcoin, could retrace right back up, maybe continue going sideways here in a consolidation, and we could see the Ethereum and the altcoin projects create a structure that is upward sloping, or maybe even, like to say, higher highs and higher lows, maybe a trend to the upside, giving us an altcoin season. So I want to see the reaction of the market. Bitcoin is going to find its bottom any moment now, even a short-term bottom, so it can consolidate. And then we want to see what the altcoin market does and how it reacts. Imagine what would happen if we see the altcoin market react really strong and make a higher high overall. Guys, altcoin season on. That's it. And when you least expect it. Right now, I know it's very bearish, but wouldn't it be a nice opportunity, a great place to get a lot of people exiting their altcoins because of fear, and then all of a sudden get an altcoin season? Guys, just be careful if they're getting too bearish too quickly. Zoom out a little bit. Filecoin still going sideways. Okay, fine. It's still within structure. It's then definitely down 1%, 2%. No big deal. But look at Aptos. Aptos is up 7% and rounding to the upside, looking for a breakout. So this is what I'm trying to say here. We're still within structure. Atom is within structure. We have what else do we have here? IMX. Okay, IMX not looking the greatest. It made a lower low. I get it. Okay, that's fine. We just got to keep an eye on it. Maybe that might be a good buy opportunity. Just keep in mind that IMX has been running for so long that a bit of a retracement in the short term for profit taking could be expected. Render kind of going sideways, planking here, nothing really crazy. Injective sideways, hopefully keeps that bottom nice intact. If not, there's a volume gap below. There's very likely that we get a volume gap in that pop to the upside, and you can see the majority of the market is in a very, very similar scenario. CRO coming down, but it did run up in the last little while. So again, retracements are based on the fact that they've already had a lot of gains gains, a lot of profits, a lot of individuals making tons of profit. They, you know, as soon as a little bit of a fearful scenario comes in, they start taking profits real quick to defend those gains. And so you can't blame the fact that people are taking profits, and those short-term breathers are just maximum about 30% dips throughout the market. So let's keep an eye on it. Dog with hat looking pretty strong, not bad. What else do we have? Sideways, a lot of sideways still. Monero, okay guys, Monero, you know, got a bit of a beating earlier on. Algorand going sideways, potentially looking for that bull flag. Is this bearishness interrupting Algorand's move to the upside, finally waking up? It could be possible. I've seen it in the past. Project starts to wake up, you get proof of life, a lot of good momentum to the upside, then all of a sudden Bitcoin starts to come down and it interrupts its momentum. At best case scenario, when that happens, the price action goes sideways, neutralizing the negativity of the market. And then when the market finds its bottom, when Bitcoin finds its bottom, Algorand potentially could be one of the bigger bouncers, the bigger movers to the upside. Look at Floki, like a stable coin, nice and strong here. No one's selling at this point. Gala, the same thing, pretty strong here, although it is 9%, fine. But look at the price action and look at the fact that it's up 53% in 7 days, guys. Crazy times here for Gala. If you're a holder, good stuff. You bought the bottom and all that good stuff. Good. Congrats. What else do we have? A lot of sideways, guys. A lot of sideways. So be careful with the bearish thesis. As of now, you definitely don't want to get super bearish in the short term because I think the market wants to basically take a bit of your capital, take away your coins in the short term. So that's about it, guys. I think what we have to do is spend a bit of time thinking about the bearish scenario. If it's going to play out, what kind of plan do you have set in place? Do you have all your stops in? Have you taken a bit of profit off the top just to reduce your position size, just in case we do roll over? Have a bit of capital to deploy at lower levels so that you can, you know, DCA back in on a dip and all that good stuff. I think that's a viable strategy, guys. I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. What's happening here with Bitcoin? It did come down. Right now it's down approximately 20%. You know what, it's not that bad. 4.2% is not that bad at the end of the day. I know it sounds bad and it looks bad based on portfolio structure. If you're heavily into altcoins, yes, you could definitely see some red, but really here on the daily, what do you see here, guys? Nothing. It's not even a lower low at this point here on the daily. And if you look at the momentum, yes, we're overbought, yes, there's bearish divergence, and yes, we see the MACD potentially getting an EMA across to the downside. Is it enough to give us that indication that we should be exiting our positions, or even for that matter shorting this market? Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Okay, so what I do say is, like, we got to be prepared. I'm not saying that we're not ready to roll over. I think that we could be ready to roll over. I've been saying that even all the way from down here. Like, I'm not ready to get into a fresh long on Bitcoin. And especially right now, I'm definitely not ready to get into a fresh long on Bitcoin. There's no way. Bitcoin's overextended, overbought, and overheated in every aspect. The thing is that price action wise, it's not giving us any structure or anything, any indication that, you know, we're rolling over. There's no change of character in the structure. So what we're going to be relying on at this current moment is oscillators, lagging indicators. And although you guys know I love bearish divergences and bullish divergences, you guys know that I use the RSI significantly and the MACD significantly, but they're only used for confluence for price action. Price action is king. Okay, so this is one thing that I do want to stress. Now, I understand that Bitcoin is in price discovery. As we speak, price discovery is a very dangerous place to make concrete decisions. Why? It's because you have very little price action looking left. However, as we retrace, and now we're coming down to about 69,700, as we keep on coming down here, we have the previous high that we could potentially use as support. Now, here I'm looking at the weekly. As you can see, the weekly, strong moves to the upside, very overbought. The MACDs are still looking really good, but what's going to happen within this weekly time frame? And maybe could we come down for a bit of a dip? Now, there's a lot of people talking about, you know, a potentially 53, 54. I feel like that could be a good level of support. If we do that, a retrace, we can come down to 40K for that matter. There's potential, a lot of liquidity in this level to hunt, and even lower. So I'm just kind of keeping myself, you know, prepared for a retracement. But as of now, the weekly is still looking bullish. Let's go on to the daily. The daily has a bit of a signal with RSI. Let's look at this in a bit more detail here. we pretty much got the confirmation of the divergence. Okay, we got higher highs on the price action, and then right into this level we made a lower high on the RSI. Class A bearish divergence, and it does look like a pivot point. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is it does look like there's a bit of loss of momentum. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can let it come down and find its bottom, and then on the bounce, whatever it is, whatever type of bounce we get, that's when you start scaling out. That's where you start, taking a bit of profit. Because what about if we end up getting another bounce to the upside? Remember this candle right here. I know I'm still in the daily, so it's a bigger time frame. Look at this candle right here. It came straight down, got bought up, and continued to the upside. Who's to say that we can't do that again in overbought conditions? We could stay in overbought conditions for a good while and maintain our trajectory to the upside. So if you start looking at what happened potentially right around here, look at all this divergence, pop to the upside. So what about if we're going to do the same thing? Upward sloping divergence. We're going to maintain divergent right onto here, and then all of a sudden pop to the upside. So really what I'm trying to do is prevent reducing the amount of exposure that I have to the market based on not much confluence. I want the confluence. I want to see a little bit more, particularly on price action. There is none. So what could we wait for? We could wait for a confirmation high that is lower than this high. So something like this. We come down. We don't, to make a lower low, it's very difficult, but which low are we going to use? That's the problem. This wick or this low right here? That's far away, guys. So let's not even get there. Right now, what I would like to see is something like this: a lower high, confirmation high, a lower high. This is what I want to see. If we start to see that, and then we formed this bottom right around here, this is the level of which we need to break in order to start getting super bearish. This is what I want to wait for, guys, because as of now, we could definitely come down here and then get a bounce and make a higher high. Or we could come down here and consolidate for a little while and then, bull flag it out for another impulse and continue to the upside, a short squeeze to the upside. We don't know. So there's not enough data to get super bearish here in the short term, because really there's not enough price action to give you any indication of bearishness. So momentum wise, I get it. Divergence, higher highs on the price action right into here, and the RSI is making lower highs. Class A bearish divergence. The MACD, let's see what's going on here with the MACD. You guys know I like the MACD just to give me a bit of an idea of what's happening with the trend. The trend, as we can see, is still in the bullish control zone. We still have EMA and EMAs are still facing upwards. Yes, it does look like it wants to cross. The histograms are still green. So what we have to understand is that we could be doing something like this, right? Where we just come down for a little bit of a dip and then continue in the bullish control zone. In fact, we actually just kind of entered the bullish control zone on the daily. If you look at it, we are overextended, no doubt. Look at the last times we came here, but really we just kind of entered here. So do we get a short-term pullback? Do we come back down like we have done in the past? Guys, it's possible. This is why I'm saying it's time to get defensive, but it's time to have a plan. And my plan personally is to wait for a bit of consolidation. Now, it doesn't have to be on the daily. It could also be on the 4-hour. The 4-hour is looking like it's ready to reset. Look at the RSI. The RSI is already coming down like it has done in the past. 1, 2, 3, and the fourth time. Are we going to get another bounce to get overbought again? It could happen, guys. This is the problem of exiting in your positions and getting too fearful too quick. This is the 4-hour time frame. We could even get oversold here on the 4-hour. And what would that translate to? Maybe coming down a little bit more, maybe to about 68,200. And then let's get that confirmation high and then get the lower high, and then we'll talk. Then we'll start saying, you know what, maybe it's time to exit. And we can start exiting right around this level upon a confirmation. When we break the previous low, we start coming down and then we get out, right? We sacrifice a bit of the profit, just a little bit, in order to maintain your exposure to the market for continuation to the upside. And why would you want to do that? It's because the trend is your friend. Guys, there's no indication that the trend has ended here yet. Right? No lower lows, not even on the 4-hour, and still higher highs and higher lows. The 1-hour, what are we going to do here? Yes, there's bearish divergence. I can bet, look, oversold already on the 1-hour. Are we going to get a bounce off the 1-hour? We have the 200 1-hour EMA right here acting as support at around 70,000. Guys, I'm not getting into lower time frames. My conviction is that I want more data. I'm not saying that we're going to continue to the upside. I'm not saying that we're rolling over. I'm just saying that I'm not interested in trading Bitcoin at the moment. And this is why I've been focusing on altcoins, and RADIX, XRD is the ticker, is one that I was always interested in. You guys know that if you've been following me here on the channel, I like RADIX because of what it has to offer the market. And what it has to offer the market is software solutions for Web3, for development, for Web3 development, ecosystem development, and it supports creators. And for me, that's important because as we create ecosystems and as we support the developers create those ecosystems, the utility of the project or the token itself or the coin does increase over time just by default. So this is why I like RADIX. Now, at the end of the day, RADIX, price action wise, guys, risk to reward, that's all it was. Honestly, fundamentals, I didn't even really pay attention to them too much. I know that they're always hacking away at it and trying to improve and, you know, release new products and services and so on and so forth. And the team is strong and all that good stuff. But what I did like is the risk to reward. Guys, we came down to this level multiple times, and we got a low, we got another low, we got another low. And this was the last line in the sand. If you zoom in here, you can see what I mean. I usually look for the last levels. That's when I start taking the majority of my risk. And you can see that, you know, the potential of coming down to this bottom was definitely there. This bottom was forming very, very nicely with divergence, bullish divergence at horizontal levels of support near the point of control here, guys. So, and we saw the volume picking up, a lot of good volume happening here, and I bought into this level, and I let you guys know this a while back when I was building my position all the way down here. Now, all of a sudden, being very, very patient, we see RADIX waking up. We got proof of life here. Now, let's just be real about this pop. This pop to the upside, it is nice. Let's measure it for a second. From entry, more or less, right around here. Let me get that tool going. Right around here, you can see that more or less we are up 50%. At the top, we maxed out at about 70% to the upside. However, guys, we've had these pops to the upside in the past. Look at all these huge little moves here. This big, huge one right here is pretty good. And these little ones, the little pops to the upside do happen, and they get sold off and they come right back to support. But what we're really hoping for is that we get something like this, because the last time we got this huge move, it was based off of almost no volume. Look at the volume that we got in here now on this time at this proof of life, and look at all the market participation in this zone. A lot of horizontal support here based on the volume profile. And the best part is we just broke above the 200 daily EMA. That's what happened in this last 2 days. Basically, RADIX broke above the 200 daily. So what are we going to do here now? In my opinion, obviously not financial advice, looking for entries for continuation to the upside is highly lucrative in my opinion. I think it's a great opportunity to get in. Why? Because it looks like we're trying to test a breakout at the current moment. The breakout is justified based on the volume. Now, I know that tops and bottoms are not clear, and a lot of people, a lot of individuals, traders that get into trades based on breakouts, they look at price action, and I generally do as well. But we have to understand that some of the price action is weak. This price action right up here doesn't have a lot of volume in it, so I don't give it a lot of importance. Psychologically, we know that this is a top, and it's very likely to cause a reaction if we were to get there to that top. But we're a long ways, away from it. We have a lot of price action to make up, and we have a lot of ways up here. We can get to about 15 cents and still have a good trade to the upside. So what I'm trying to say here is the risk to reward, in fact, after this proof of life, is actually getting healthier upon a back test. And we are potentially in a decent zone even to take a bit of risk absolutely right now. This was a very risky scenario, and I know that. I'm very aware because we're trying to catch a bottom. But with all the indications of horizontal support and all of that good stuff, it gave me the indication that I need to build a position. But upon a confirmation back test of the 200 daily at about 4.8 cents, you're talking about a great entry as well, not too far away from the level that I got in, which means that you are paying for a bit of confidence and a bit of confluence that will essentially give you that confirmation that we're going to continue to the upside. A confirmation high, a low, a higher low. A higher low right here would be super good. Come back down, higher low from this low, and then we're producing higher lows and higher highs. And in order to really get into that mindset of higher highs, guess what, guys? We got to break above this high, which is at about 15 cents again. So I think that RADIX is in a great opportunity to potentially start accumulating again, right? Just based on the fact that we're getting another we got another confirmation based on this breakout that the market is ready to start waking up. So what I would be doing, any dips, reaccumulate, guys. I don't think it's going to take off, continue moving. It could be possible. I want to quickly go on the weekly here for a second. You can see how the weekly is looking really bullish. EMAs to the upside, green histogram bars, entering to the bullish control zone, going to the upside, and the volume and the RSI is looking to get overbought. It's going to happen slow and steadily. Okay, guys, just be prepared. A bit of a retracement, maybe a mean reversion play in the short term where we see the purple and the yellow catch up to one another. And then all of a sudden, another spring to the upside with a lot more strength and volume would cause the XRD price to basically break through resistance, which right now is at about 6.8 cents. For me, that's the level of which I want to see this thing break out with a lot of strength. Why? Because of the volume gap. Look at the empty space that we have over here. If we actually break above, smooth sailing to the tops, to the previous high, and in fact, it's very likely after we came down here, we picked up a lot more volume, a lot more bullish bids here to see this thing actually break out of its previous price resistance, which is at about 15 cents. Let's take a look at the volume. Let's take a look at the actual trade, the weak spot. How big is it? You're looking at 120% of weakness. Essentially, if we break above, we can get into 100% move to the upside. And then again, you know, who knows what kind of price discovery we can get into after that. The next level to watch out for is the previous high on this wick, 22 cents, and smooth sailing to the upside. And at the end of the day, price discovery, here we come. Guys, I think RADIX is decent, both fundamentally, price action is good, ready to accumulate into this range like all the other individuals that are accumulating in this range in preparation for this breakout. Guys, I'm not a breakout trader, but of course, keep risk management at the forefront of your mind when you're planning out your setup, because breakout trades can be a bit risky. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. Of course, I'm going to be live tonight at 7:30 Eastern talking about crypto news and price action. If you have any projects you want me to cover, that is a great time and place to make those requests, and I'll cover them live, and of course I'll put them in top priority. Join the Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.